Welcome to Semiconductor News Decoded. I'm Ty, with 31 years inside the semiconductor industry, bringing you the real view from the factory floor. Today's topic, the automotive memory shortage. AI demand has taken over the supply, and automakers are now scrambling for a solution. As always, I'll explain everything in the most simplified way possible. Even a middle schooler should be able to follow along. If you're a specialist watching, some parts may feel oversimplified, but I'd like to prioritize giving everyone the big picture first. Think of it as a special refrigerated warehouse in town that got taken over by a fast-growing restaurant chain, leaving the local hospital's kitchen without the ingredients it needs. So sit back and enjoy. In one sentence, today's story is this. A special refrigerated warehouse in town got taken over entirely by a rapidly expanding restaurant chain, and now the local hospital's kitchen can't get the ingredients it needs. This giant restaurant chain opened hundreds of new locations almost overnight and started consuming warehouse space at a pace no one had anticipated. Because no one expected that kind of demand, the warehouse capacity ran out fast. The hospital's kitchen, on the other hand, needs ingredients that carry special health inspection certifications. Not just any warehouse will do. There's no option to say, the one next door is fine. Switching suppliers simply isn't possible on short notice. What makes it even more complicated? Building a new warehouse takes years. Even if the hospital says, we need more space the moment the shortage hits, there's no quick fix. That's why the hospitals that read ahead and signed long-term contracts early are the only ones still getting stable supplies. To summarize the warehouse story, a rapidly expanding restaurant chain took over the refrigerated storage, leaving the hospital kitchen unable to secure ingredients. The hospital can't switch to a different warehouse due to special certification requirements, and building new warehouses takes years. Only the hospitals that planned ahead and locked in long-term contracts remain stable. The ones that didn't are now scrambling. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world of the semiconductor industry. Let me summarize the warehouse stance. When a fast-growing new customer dominates limited certified storage, the established customers with strict requirements get squeezed out, and there's no quick fix. That maps almost perfectly onto today's automotive memory shortage. The trigger is the explosive growth in demand for AI data center memory. DRAM and NAND, the core memory types, are now needed in massive quantities to build AI servers. As memory makers have rapidly redirected their production capacity toward high-performance AI products, the supply available for automotive customers has tightened severely. And honestly, the current state of the memory market maps almost exactly onto this warehouse story. Let's start by understanding why AI memory demand has surged so dramatically. The global spread of AI services, starting with ChatGPT, has caused an explosion in demand for high-speed, high-capacity servers worldwide. These servers require enormous quantities of HBM, high-bandwidth memory, along with large-capacity DRAM and fast NAND. For memory makers, AI products carry higher prices and better margins. Naturally, that's where production resources flow. Meanwhile, the automotive industry itself is undergoing rapid transformation through electrification and SDV, software-defined vehicle. An SDV is essentially a car whose functions are defined and updated by software, a computer on wheels. These vehicles carry far more memory than traditional cars, because everything from autonomous driving and advanced driver assistance to in-car entertainment and OTA software updates requires constant data processing. So the auto industry's own memory demand is rising, right into direct competition with AI demand. Let's compare this to the semiconductor shortage of 2021. Back then, it was MCUs, microcontroller units, small control chips, that ran out, halting automotive production lines. The main cause was a demand forecasting failure during the pandemic, combined with factory shutdowns. This situation is different. It's not a forecasting error. The market structure itself has fundamentally changed, and the entire memory category is now caught in a battle for limited supply. Automotive memory must meet quality standards that consumer products don't. To be adopted by an automaker, it must clear AEC Q100, the Automotive Reliability Specification. That means guaranteed operation across extreme temperatures, long-term supply commitments, full traceability, and a host of other requirements that consumer electronics simply don't face. That's exactly why just redirect the DRAM that's surplus from AI production to cars is not a workable solution. In response, automakers are being forced to rethink their procurement strategies. The prevailing approach, order when you need it, no longer works. There's a clear acceleration toward signing multi-year direct contracts with memory makers and toward multi-source strategies that ensure supply from more than one vendor. Long-term contracts obviously come with costs. Securing future supply typically requires prepayment or binding purchase commitments up front. That means increased capital outlay for automakers. But compared to the cost of a supply disruption that halts a production line, this kind of risk hedging is entirely rational. This is procurement 101 for manufacturing industries, yet a surprising number of companies still haven't put it into practice. Another critical issue is the rising cost of maintaining older memory generations, like DDR4. Consumer electronics has largely moved to DDR5 and newer standards, but automotive applications often continue to require DDR4 due to certification constraints. As DDR4 production volumes decline, the cost per unit goes up. This isn't price gouging, it's a real structural cost increase. Automakers need to internalize and account for this reality. From the memory maker's perspective, customers who suddenly multiply their orders are extremely difficult to accommodate. In production planning, customers with highly volatile demand get lower priority. A customer who provides stable, long-term forecasts is simply easier to allocate production resources to. The implication is clear. Automakers with superior procurement strategies will hold a genuine supply advantage in the competition ahead. And this isn't just a memory issue. It applies to semiconductors broadly. The emergence of AI has fundamentally reshaped the demand structure for electronic components. The automotive industry was once on a trajectory to become the single largest consumer of memory. But AI demand has outgrown that at a pace no one predicted. The auto industry has entered an era where it must rethink, from the ground up, the supplier relationships it has long taken for granted. Looking ahead, the memory supply squeeze is unlikely to ease in the short term. Building new production capacity takes 3 to 4 years, meaning even if investment decisions are made today, a meaningful supply increase won't arrive until 2028 or later. For automakers, establishing a solid procurement strategy now is directly tied to their competitiveness going forward. Let me bring everything together. The explosive growth of AI data centers has tightened DRAM and NAND supply, sending ripple effects into the automotive memory market. Because automotive memory requires special quality certifications like AEC Q100, supply sources can't simply be swapped. EV and SDV trends are increasing memory content per vehicle, intensifying the competition further. The structural cost increase from maintaining older memory generations adds another layer of pressure. Automakers are urgently moving toward long-term supply contracts and multi-source strategies. Now, here's my personal take. Honestly, from my years on the factory floor, my reaction is, what took you so long? The moment HBM demand spiked, anyone paying attention could see that memory investment would tilt heavily toward AI. The companies that saw it coming prepared. Smart customers were already moving 6 months ahead. The current scramble is fundamentally about the companies that didn't act then, now caught flat-footed. And from a supplier's perspective, a customer who suddenly wants to multiply their orders is the hardest kind to serve. That's exactly what's happening right now. Going forward, whether an automaker can position itself as a reliable multi-year partner in the eyes of memory makers will determine their procurement power. That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis. So if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.